Hi everybody, welcome to this video snippet dedicated to the Sacred Kiss. That's also known as the Nashakh. The Nashakh is a word in Hebrew that translates roughly as to kiss with the soul. This kiss can also be discovered in Rumi's poetry. I'm sure you've discovered that terminology within the pages of that luscious play with words. And also you can find this terminology in mystical Sufism as well as mystical Christianity. It is definitely something that can be given through the energetics of the body to pass over a very mystical transmission of wordless understanding and in many ways a form of gnosis. The theory of this has been covered in my book, Sacred Sexual Union, but what I wish to share with you now is more of the embodied practice and process of what this might look like. Because we're dealing with something quite mystical and wordless, you cannot plan to do it, you cannot invoke the energies to do it, you cannot tame or contain this grace in any way. But what you can do, which is what I have done, is I have soaked up as much material as possible on this particular energy. And it is something that is invoked daily within my own self, through my own yoga meditation practices and through music and dance. And so it's simply now part of my being, it's part of my fabric. And so it is, I would say, easily accessible. It's able to be given because it's become part of me. So this is what I do when I am moving instinctively towards giving that kiss. So let's imagine now that you are the beloved. The camera in front of me is the beloved. So what I would do, and again it can't be thought or planned, it's something that naturally arises. But when my consciousness is aware that it is arising, I start to breathe a little bit deeper, not in a way to break the energy between myself and my partner. It's just something that I become aware of. And with that inhale, I am gathering the rich depths of my embodiment. This would be the inclusion of my bloodline. So I would be inhaling my Irish Celtic lineage and all the energies that make up that lineage, the passion, the perseverance, the stamina, the endurance, the spirit, the merriment, the celebration of the Irish bloodline. I would also be invoking the British part of myself, the independence, the pioneering, can't think of any other words for that part, but I would be inhaling that rich heritage, and it would be a sensation that's coming up from the earth. So I'm retrieving my ancestral gifts and talents and imprints within my breath, within my body, within my torso. And this would be rising up, filling me from the root upwards. Then, at the same time, paradoxically, at the same time, I would also be inhaling my celestial lineage, my soul group, the gifts and talents of my soul lineage. I would be, myself personally, invoking the energies of the Christ, the apostles, the dimensional realm of Christ consciousness. And so this would be pouring down into me from my crown, into my body, into my torso. And it would be meeting my human embodiment and all that I've experienced in this life, all the initiations I've moved through, all the depths of understanding my human nature, all the joys and passions and innovations I've co-created. So it would all be all mixing in my chest, in my heart, in my lungs, in my torso. Then, and this has recently come through in the last couple of months, then my mouth begins to become inscribed on the inside with my sacred language. And what I personally am seeing and sensing is an Aramaic script. I can't read Aramaic, but I can recognize its shapes and its signature. And so on the inside of my mouth is what feels like a code, a geometry, a transmission from my soul and wishing to move into the soul of my beloved. And it's rotating, so it's kind of holographic. It's an orbiting field that is covering the whole of my upper palate, the inside of my cheeks, most definitely my tongue, underneath my tongue, and in some ways it's the radiance of this code is suffusing through my brain. And so when this feels ripe and ready, the breath of my embodiment and the breath of my spiritual soul lineage meets in the mouth. And then there is this complete tingle, is an understatement. It's like an explosion of love light. Then I know it is time for the kiss to be planted on some part of the body. This can be planted on the third eye, and I would say the deepest wisdom would be passed through in that way. This can obviously be planted on the mouth, and I would say the deepest love can be transfused that way. It can also be planted on the hand, which for me is such a deep act of kindness and sincere human bonding. When this happens, the two partners implode and explode. You fragment and you come together again and again and again. So it's just a constant. When you're receiving the sacred kiss, allow, 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 and allow for the deepest transmission to come to you. Forget everything you've ever known about kissing and etiquette and timing and messy and, I don't know. Forget all that stuff. Simply allow it to happen. And if it is you yourself who is initiating or invoking, be brave. Be brave and do it. And release any grip of fear that might be suggesting that you don't do it because you might be rejected, because you might be considered a little bit too full on or something. Just let all that stuff go and just allow this temple work to come back into embodied form. So I would love to receive your reports and your little snippets in the boxes down below if you've ever given or received the sacred kiss or you've just done it, and whatever else that might lead to. And so just to wrap up, in essence, it's to kiss with the soul. It's to pass codes. It's to pass the essence, the fabric, the light, the love, the truth, the wisdom of your own soul into the other, and to receive theirs at the same time. And the deeper mystery and meaning of your union, your meeting. Why have you come together? What is the rich potential? What is it that has orchestrated this? Wow, it's intense, it's incredible, it's utterly beautiful. And I believe it helps us move from old paradigm relationships into these new paradigm relationships, where other forms of communication and union are now completely and utterly available. If you enjoyed this little snippet and you want to read more, then you will find lots of other yummy stuff in Sacred Sexual Union, The Alchemy of Love, Power and Wisdom. A book that I feel is covering the more feminine aspects of Christ consciousness in the body. Thank you for listening.